The Galactic Council's wilderness survival test was legendary across 1,000 worlds. It wasn't meant to be passed. It was meant to humble species who thought themselves ready for deep space exploration. The statistics spoke for themselves. 90% mortality rate, with most candidates extracted as broken shells of their former selves within the first 72 hours. Robert Chin stood in the deployment bay, checking his standard-issue survival pack for the third time. Beside him, Elsa Nordstrom adjusted her thermal suit, her ice-blue eyes scanning the briefing holoscreen that displayed their drop zone. Karzeth Prime, a death world where everything evolved specifically to kill anything that didn't belong. Humans, sneered Counselor Vexthor, his mandibles clicking with barely concealed contempt. Two of you. How optimistic. The Kralix send their finest warriors. The Stellan Collective sends psionically enhanced scouts. And Terra sends, whatever you are. Robert smiled politely. We appreciate the opportunity, Counselor. You have 14 standard days, Vexthor continued. Survive. Return to the extraction point. Try not to become statistics too quickly. It reflects poorly on our safety protocols. The drop pods launched simultaneously, carrying candidates from 17 species into Karzeth Prime's hostile embrace that Robert's pod slammed into a clearing surrounded by crystalline trees that hummed with predatory intent. He emerged, took one breath of the acidic air, and immediately began cataloging. Not threats. Resources 0.3 kilometers away, Elsa's landing was smoother. She'd already identified edible fungi within her first hour and was fashioning a spear from local materials when her communicator crackled. Elsa, you reading me? Robert's voice came through, loud and clear. You intact. Define intact. I've got something tracking me. Big. 6 legs. Definitely carnivorous. Lose it or kill it. A pause. Then, I'm thinking, option 3. Elsa grinned despite herself. Robert, no. Robert, yes. See you at the midpoint marker in 6 days? Try not to get eaten before then. The other candidates weren't faring well. The Kralix warrior, 7 feet of muscle and armor, was extracted on day 2 after a pack of crystal wolves shredded his exosuit. The Stellan Psion lasted until day 4 when the planet's electromagnetic fields scrambled her neural pathways. By day 7, only 5 candidates remained. Robert had spent his first 72 hours being stalked by what the galactic database called a razorback hexapod, an apex predator that had never encountered prey that didn't run. Robert didn't run. He studied it, tracked its patterns, left offerings of smaller creatures he'd trapped out on day 4. The hexapod, he'd named it Biscuit, started following him instead of hunting him. Elsa, meanwhile, had turned her section of forest into something resembling a small homestead. She'd identified 3 water sources, established a smoke curing station, and had begun systematically hunting the local megafauna. The pelts were piling up. Waste not, want not. That's what her grandmother always said. When they met at the midpoint marker, Elsa actually laughed out loud. Robert emerged from the tree line with Biscuit trotting beside him like an oversized, 6-legged dog. He'd fashioned a crude harness, and the beast was dragging a travois loaded with supplies. You domesticated an apex predator, Elsa said flatly. Domesticated is a strong word. We have an understanding. I feed him, he doesn't eat me. We both benefit from the arrangement. Robert scratched behind one of Biscuit's auditory ridges. The creature made a sound somewhere between a purr and a rock slide. How about you? Elsa gestured to her own pile of supplies. 23 pelts, neatly bundled. Smoked meat wrapped in broadleaves. Even a crude map of the region. Show off, Robert muttered. Says the man with a battle tank for a pet. By day 12, the other 3 candidates had been extracted. The humans were alone. We could head to extraction early, Elsa suggested as they shared a meal by her fire. Biscuit dozed nearby, occasionally snapping at the local insect equivalents. We could, Robert agreed. Or, I know that tone. What are you thinking? He pulled out a sample container. These crystalline trees. The resonance frequency is incredibly precise. If we could harvest a few samples, the applications for communications technology alone would be revolutionary. Elsa considered. We've got 2 days. The extraction point is 8 hours from here. Plenty of time. You're a terrible influence, you know that. You're the one who built a tanning operation in a death world forest. She couldn't argue with that. Day 14. The extraction point. Counselor Vexthor stared at the human candidates with 4 of his 6 eyes. The other 2 were occupied examining the mountain of supplies they'd brought back: pelts, meat, mineral samples, botanical specimens, and a 6-legged apex predator that was currently accepting scratches from Robert like an oversized puppy. This is not how the test works, Vexthor managed. Survived 14 days. Reported to extraction point as ordered, Elsa said cheerfully, consulting her datapad. I've also prepared a preliminary report on 17 edible species, 3 potable water sources, and optimal shelter locations by region. I've got samples of the local crystal formations, Robert added. Also, I'll need to file for a Class C lifeform transport permit. Biscuit's coming with me. The creature's tail wagged, smashing a nearby equipment crate. You named it, Vexthor said weakly. Him. And yes. The counselor looked at his aides, who were equally stunned. In 12,000 years of administering this test, no one has ever thrived. Elsa offered. We prefer to think of challenges as opportunities, Robert explained, as Biscuit nuzzled his hand that Vexthor's mandibles worked silently. Finally, humans are cleared for deep space exploration. Clearly, nothing the galaxy contains will be sufficient to kill you anyway. As they boarded the transport, Elsa elbowed Robert. Next time, I'm bringing back 2 pets. Competition noted, he replied, grinning. Behind them, Biscuit's contented rumble echoed through the bay, and Counselor Vexthor began composing a very lengthy report on why the wilderness test protocols needed immediate revision. Humans, he wrote, don't just survive. They make themselves at home.